Welcome to the Local Marketing Source Weekly Update, brought to you by LocalMarketingSource.com. This update is taken from the Local Marketing Source Professional Development Program for local marketers.
This week's Local Marketing Update is brought to you by Scott Gallagher. Scott is the co-founder of Local Marketing Source and has become the recognized expert in providing online marketing services to local businesses. Follow Scott on Twitter @ScottGallagher5 and on Facebook.com/ScottPGallagher.
Hey everyone, we can try this one again. All right. Yeah, my bad. I was talking. Good thing we got some backup people on the line. But Scott Gallagher here with Local Marketing Source, and I'm bringing you our Local Marketing Industry Weekly Update. And the live Q&A is going to follow the update. Our next faculty call is going to be next Wednesday, August 22nd at 4 p.m. Eastern. You know, before I get into, first before I get into everything, I should apologize. My mouth is a little bit frozen, so a few of my words may come out a little bit different. It's kind of difficult to talk. Try taking a drink of some ginger ale, and half your mouth is frozen. But nonetheless, before I get into some of the weekly overview, I got some housekeeping items to talk about. And a couple of our colleagues, my partner and somebody that works for us, Ryan and Mike, were over at the SEO Brain Trust Conference this weekend representing Local Marketing Source in San Diego. If any of you are not familiar with SEO Brain Trust, that's run by Dan Thies and Leslie Rohde. They are the SEO kings in the internet marketing community. They've coined and developed many different strategies and are clearly the leaders when it comes to organic search. And as a matter of fact, Dan Thies is my first and only mentor when it comes to organic SEO. It was Dan that taught me a lot of what I know back in 2005 and 2006. In any event, there's a few good takeaways that we want to share and give an update to. One of the big themes over at this conference that Ryan and Mike were sharing with me is something that we've been talking about for quite some time, especially on these calls, and that's exactly this whole social side of search. And you know, with these most recent updates, the Penguin update has really slapped a lot of people in a lot of ways, and there's a lot of questions going on, and so that was a big topic of conversation. And what is social? Well, you look at some of the principles that we predicated at Local Marketing Source over the years and why our sites have not been slapped out of the index. So sure, we've seen a couple of sites that have been hit in different ways, but we understand it, and they're back now. We're not experiencing the implications of Penguin, and our results and our rankings are all good. And the people that were hit were, you know, spam links and whatnot, and but moving towards the social side, and what is Google Plus, and what exactly is Google's objective? Are they really trying to compete and have a social network to compete against Facebook? I mean, they've got almost a quarter of the users of Facebook now signed up on Google Plus, is what their number claims. But do you really know anybody that talks about Google Plus and goes and engages in their social network? I don't. I really don't. Except internet marketers, of course. I know a couple that would. But nobody in the mainstream. But there's definitely a lot of mainstream people that are Google Plus users that don't even realize it. And that's having that Google Plus one button up there. Having people logged in to get that social information, to create that social graph. Mark Zuckerberg launched that in 2009 with Facebook. That's what they're trying to compete against. That's the future of search, is understanding what people want, not creating just a complete computer algorithm and try to mimic human thought by identifying links. There's going to be a point in time when links have next to no relevancy in terms of SEO per se, or to put it, or have any bearing weight. And the the number of links is clearly dissipated. The quality of links has clearly begun to increase, and all links really do is just demonstrate exposure. Well, there's different ways to demonstrate exposure with a lot more authority. So it's critical. Google Plus is critical for Google to survive. That's why they've put so much weight into it. But what's more interesting, and not really something that we've ever talked about at Local Marketing Source, I may have shared it once or twice on these calls, but that's because of my conversations with Dan. And is the Facebook threat right now, the monetary threat, and something that Facebook has that they haven't unleashed. And what's interesting is you start to look at the stocks of Facebook, and it's plummeted. It's gone down. Well, now for the first time, initial IPO stockholders, shareholders can dump their stock. So there's going to be a couple of big dumps. One of their stocks also convert to a different type of stock in November, and they anticipate another mass dump. Then Facebook is also looking to put some of those stocks back on the market to create revenue, to be able to pay the taxes on their employees' stock holdings. So what I'm getting at here is the value of the Facebook stock is really plummeting. But people are going to pick up these stocks, and Facebook has got something that the media and the general population and the financial industry really hasn't caught on to or really understands. And think of Google, and think of where Google makes their money. I mean, they're known for whatever they're known for in people's minds, but they're a very profitable company. And they make the majority of their money in AdWords. We know that. But a little known secret with their revenue in AdWords is 80% of the revenue doesn't come from ads on the Google network. It comes from ads on other people's websites. They're AdSense. Google really started to make money in 2004 when they launched AdSense. Well, they launched AdWords in 2001. But it wasn't until 2004 and 2005 that company really started to monetize. And then they built this network of having these ads all over on all these different sites everywhere. Well, Facebook has an advertising platform within Facebook. We know it works a little bit, and we know it doesn't work for other things, and people are working and they're making money from it. But when Mark Zuckerberg launched the Open Social Graph in 2009, I don't know the figures, but the amount of websites that have the like button by far surpasses that of the +1 button. That's their network. That's their AdSense network that they can unleash advertising potential and revenue opportunities that are unheard of. You mimic the Google model, that could represent 80% of Facebook's future revenue. So if their revenue today is 20%, you could do the math. And they've got that at their disposal. And they haven't unleashed it. They haven't announced it. They haven't talked about it. Nobody anywhere. Well, I guess Dan Dees has. And one other little tidbit of information when credit's due is through search testing. We've now learned that the service area of a business is a really big deal. We get clients frequently, and you'll get them, and I get people asking, you know, how can I show up in this area? I want to service that area. Well, there's a lot of different metrics that the search engines are going to look at to determine a service area, and we talk a lot about those in these calls and how to influence that in different ways. But a new metric has entered that realm, and think of the click to map and the click to call feature within Google. And so I'm doing a search on my smartphone, and a business comes up, in the local search results, and I do the click to call. Well, I want to do business with them, and I'm physically located in an area that they know where I am. That's now my service area. It's now attributing to that, and therefore that's a metric that over time. So how do we influence our service area with that metric? Well, optimize conversion. The better you are at converting those search results, in other words, influencing those 164 characters in your description field to influence the click to call, maybe encourage the click to call in your description. There's different ways for different businesses to improve that. But obviously focusing on the conversion of your snippet will improve your service area. Go figure. All right. Overview stuff. This is interesting. It's just, you see how Google is really trying to get itself tied into local businesses with setting appointments and menus, and now in the used car and new car business, and the CRM business, and they've talked about local delivery, and now in lead generation for new car sales, and they've been testing in the San Francisco area, but basically they're now rolling it out where car dealerships can integrate with a Google API, upload car inventory information on a regular basis, and Google does the selling. And I have to admit, I wish I had some of the functionality that's in San Francisco from Google right now that they're testing, because I am going through the process of looking for a new car. All right. There's a new penalty that's being launched next week that was just announced, and it's called the pirate penalty. This is good for people like me that create content and receive revenue for the content that we create in the digital front. Well, we're in the digital information age, and piracy is definitely a responsibility of a lot of different companies out there, including YouTube, that's owned by Google, right? But it's Google's responsibility as a search engine. What if they're doing searches? What if there's searches for a product I make, and somebody bought that product and started to pirate it, and then Google starts to show those results? Who's responsible? Well, as a digital publisher, I've begun to understand the online piracy and how it works, and how we can submit URLs to search engines to have certain URLs delisted, and how we can pay companies to scour and identify content that's been pirated and have it removed. And it's a big business, and I can't imagine what movie companies have to go through and whatnot. And I admit, I come from a world of piracy. I grew up in a world of piracy. I remember when I was in university in 1995, we had a T1. I mean, if you know what a T1 is, back then it was a big internet connection, but it's only 1.5 megabits. I mean, everybody, my phone has a faster connection than we had, but this was for the entire internet, for the entire university. And I set up a pirated, I shouldn't be talking about this, but I remember that's how I got introduced to the IT department and the university kids in that department, because they knew somebody was utilizing 24 hours a day, 80% of the entire university's internet pipe. Well, times have changed a lot, and MP3s no longer are pirated. It's very easy to pay for a service from Spotify and pay for a service through Netflix. Heck, between Spotify and Netflix, I'm less than $20 a month, and I have unlimited music and unlimited movies. Why are you going to pirate? Being a digital content creator, I understand what it is. Why are you going to pirate? Nonetheless, it's also a karmic value. There's a lot of karma, I think, that's involved with that. And, when you stop pirating software for business is when you start making money. It's as simple as that. You get out of school and you have Microsoft Word, and it's pirated, and don't. There's my lesson for that. I really go on a tangent. But it's bad karma to pirate anything digital. Mark my words. But yeah, we're talking about Google and how Google's getting involved with local businesses. And one thing that's keen on my side, so some of you may know that I'm a founder of a company called Naparex. And Naparex, that's National Parcel Express. And Naparex is a national same-day delivery company. And it functions by utilizing couriers, local couriers all across the country, and software to integrate them and move products around. And one thing that the company is interested in is Americans want stuff faster, so same-day delivery is definitely important. And there's a lot of local retailers that, quite frankly, I hate driving. There's just so much traffic, and it would be nice to even go on a Best Buy site and make a purchase and have it delivered to my home in 2 hours. And it's very, very feasible, and the networks all exist. Technology is allowing it to make it happen now. And that's exactly what Google is recognizing and wants to get involved with, is allowing that, making that easier. And so, the local mom and pop shops are going to be able to operate and facilitate that. And think of this, that I'm hungry and I want to eat. And yeah, there's a couple of places that deliver or whatnot, and but we all know eating at the local restaurants is always going to give us better food than any of the chains in America. And when I want good food, I'll do that. And it's difficult for these businesses to facilitate that. Well, the independent delivery business, 80% of drivers within the same-day delivery business are independent. They just got their own vehicle. Why can't they plug into some network to find somebody else that wants a sub from the local place and have the transaction taken care of and done electronically? That's all really that Google is doing. It's just being a business to be able to connect different businesses, different people. That's all that they're going to be able and allowed to do. And whether it's allowing a local jeweler to take photographs of their jewelry and have an easy e-commerce site and have a delivery system in place. It's pretty exciting, but it's also important to note what Google's getting themselves involved with. Oh yeah, I went on a complete tangent here. I started to talk about the pirate penalty and being a digital creator of content for that, and that's why we went on that. But the pirate penalty is being rolled out, and it's not that hard for Google and search engines to understand the piracy. Look at what happened with web development in the last 5 years. You can't take an image off the internet anywhere and use it without fighting lawsuits with Masterfile and Getty Images, that they got search bots out there identifying who's stealing what. And you've got algorithms that are looking through video content, and you upload something to YouTube with any music file, and they recognize it right away as piracy, and they mute it unless the publisher of that content has allowed it to be used for non-commercial use. It's all coming together now. There's algorithms that look at audio content and pull out words and written material, and we're at that stage that electronically it's becoming extremely difficult to steal and replicate content that has already been created by somebody else in a digital front and take credit for it. And that's good. It's going to be no different than content that you're going to create for your clients' websites. And these businesses that have the same content from competitors within the same industry or down the road. Those sites are the ones that are going to get hurt more with this penalty. Unique content is critical. It's even more critical with this penalty. For those of you, last week we announced that Google Plus pages can be merged with your Google Places. Now Google Plus is rolling out vanity URLs. Vanity URL, like on Facebook, it'd be facebook.com/Scott P. Gallagher is my vanity URL for my Facebook fan page, personal one, not my business. So now you can go and get vanity URLs for your Google Plus local page. Not all profiles have it right now, only certain ones. So you can't go and steal all the good URLs. But when you can, I recommend that you go and get it. I just wanted to make a couple of comments about the mobile pay war that's going on. Walmart and others are competing against companies like Google that are trying to get part of the market share. You looked at something that Starbucks has recently done with other businesses out there. Again, it's the electronic transaction. You know, the era of the 60s when the credit card came out changed, and then in the 80s we got our debit cards, and now we're going to see something new. And what that's going to look like in 5 years, none of us really know. But it's like the VHS beta battle. I mean, beta was still a much better videotape than VHS, if you're old enough to remember that stuff. But VHS won because of money. DVD standards have gone through it. It's a reoccurring theme in technology and business, and so we're seeing that happen in the mobile space right now. And you know, there's a lot of retailers are fighting for a piece of that. Banks, financial institutions, search engines like Google, manufacturers. It's big business. It's basically taking a little bit of money off of every electronic transaction that we've all allowed ourselves to become accustomed to. And each different layer is going to take a different piece, and it's going to end up costing us 5% for every transaction that we do. Is this going to eliminate any paper money, or how much is it going to do that? Oh my gosh. Think of that. We're going to end up paying at least 2%, likely 2 to 5% for every single transaction we do is going to be racked up in transactional fees, not taxes. Transactional fees. They make it so expensive to go and talk to somebody. And the last thing, before we get into some Q&A, and as my computer's flashing at me and my battery, this Groupon. You know, you guys that know me know how much I like Groupon, or dislike Groupon for that matter. Ever since that company has really begun to flourish, there's been a lot of aspects of Groupon that that have been questionable in how they work, and they've really changed their business model completely to how what they were founded on. They grew on a concept that was just like the new thing. A bunch of people jumped on board. They overvalue the company. They turned down $5 or $6 billion from Google. And the question has always become, their business model is not sustainable for their clients. So how can they have a sustainable business model? You can't just throw 20 or 30% of a business's annual sales at them in 1 or 2 days. There's just, businesses can't handle that, whether it's to get the product out or to service the product or to deal with inventory problems, cash flow problems. These are all issues in business that these companies have to deal with, that Groupon and create problems for. Some small businesses it works for. So the model just could not, I mean, I've argued for a long time, it can't be sustainable. How is Groupon really going to go? Well, time over, every single quarter for the last 12 months, Groupon has continued to dive in terms of its share value and company value. They just took almost a 20% hit on their share value last week alone with the announcement of their revenue miss. And their targets were well below what analysts thought that they should have been. And when a company comes out in that fashion, and they missed it, it's even below that. I don't get it. There's going to be a headline at some point in time that's going to say so-and-so bought Groupon for $500 million. And the poor CEO, founder, is going to kick himself that he could have had $5 billion. All right. You know, the founder of Groupon actually works 1 day a week as a waiter in a Chicago restaurant. Kid you not. Once a week. He's a waiter. Gets paid for it. Works as an employee because he wants to learn the local business market space. He's only 25 years old. Or 24 or 26. I don't know. But yeah, he does that. All right. Well, that's the end of our call this week.
That concludes this Local Marketing Weekly Update, brought to you by LocalMarketingSource.com. This update is provided from the Local Marketing Source Professional Development Program for local marketers. Visit LocalMarketingSource.com for additional resources focused on online marketing for local businesses.